Hello everyone! Welcome back to another episode. Now, in this episode, or this video rather, what I will be showing you is how to counter, or in other words, parry an attack. Now, I will not have an opponent for this video, you will be able to see it for future reference, but I'm just going to try to explain the general gist of things. So, it's a bit complicated because a general rule of thumb is like similar attacks counter or parry similar attacks. So what am I even talking about? So you see how there are these different saber attacks, the same with a knife and also a short axe and a normal axe. Any tool that's not a bayonet or like a pokey thing, you know. But there are these four different kinds of attacks, right? And with an axe, there's only three. There's no like little bottom attack. But basically, this is how they work. So this attack counters this attack. Alright? So if these two attacks like meet each other, the inner and outer, I like to call them like side attack, they just sort of counter each other out. Now, if two outer ones meet, it is not a parry. It is not a counter. It means it will not, like, the block or the cling sound will not appear, and you will basically not be able to parry, and you will just both either trade hits, or one of you will be lucky to hit the other. And if, you know, there's one of these, and then also one of the outer ones, then they would, in most cases, parry each other. If the completely different side, like if you're attacking me from this side, like coming in from right here, then obviously I won't be able to parry unless you go like really close to my saber. You're just gonna hit me. But in most cases, if you show like the half of your body that has the saber, in general cases, it should parry. Alright? That's how those side parries work. And very simple. The bottom parry or counter counters another bottom, right? So bottom counters bottom. So if there are two bottoms, they counter and they balance each other out. And in most cases, again, if you do like spin or like you get a lucky angle that's like out of the reach of the saber. So if you like poke me right here, again, it's most likely not gonna counter unless you poke through me and then you hit that somehow. Hitboxes are a bit weird, but basically, in general terms, if you want to counter this, use this. And upper counters upper. And another use for upper is just, it's the last one, obviously. But another use for upper is when you're getting attacked by horses, because that way you hit the rider if you jump and then boom. And that's the only use for it. If you ever use upper, you are simply bad. Unless you're like in a brawl, you can also hit someone mid-jump. Like you hit them and then you predict they're gonna jump and then you might be able to quickly get the upper. But otherwise, you, in general terms, want to use all the other ones. This one has the most range, and then these two, you just want to counter your opponents, right? And it takes some practicing to get used to how to get each kind of attack. But once you can sort of master it, like it's about putting your cursor in areas. Sometimes it doesn't work, but if you move your cursor and pull it, in most cases it goes the way you want. So here to the right, to the left, up, up. I went a bit too far to the side again. Yeah, it's a bit hard, but if you go in shift lock, it's easier for upper, and it's also easier for lower in shift lock. But yeah, that's just how it works. It's fairly simple. Now, you generally just want to try your best with this. And if you get into a close brawl, it's better to hit fast than to worry about the counters. But it's if you're in like a distant duel, like you're here, your opponent's here, you might want to have the counter. Now, obviously, being aware of counters, you might also want to decide, I don't want to use a counter. Because in general terms, this attack is in most cases a bit worse than the inner attack, which means if you both have the inner attack, that's fine. You're gonna hate each other, but you need to know that you cannot block, and this is why blocking is just not good. Because if you block, then it's gonna be hard for you to hit back, and sure they might block an attack, but in that time and you unblock, and then you attack, they're either gonna have moved back, or they're just gonna be able to basically trade hits with you and then move back. So in most cases, you don't want to block like this. Not with a saber, not with a knife, not anytime. You don't want to right click. You want to either use counters, or you want to just like keep distance, like keep spacing. That's just a little overview of how dueling works. Obviously with a bayonet, it's a bit different, because blocking could be useful in that case, because there's not G mode. G mode is just when you press G and then you can move, like in slope arms, you can move fast. That's also what you should be doing instead of blocking. If you want to keep distance, use G mode always, because that way you can quickly move, quickly attack. It's better. It's just better than blocking because you can also move faster, right? It's the same against a bayonet with a knife or a saber. You wanna be able to use G mode. You wanna run, because they can two-hit you if you have a knife, for example. Unless you get real close. Bayonet dynamics is a bit different way for you to play the game, and it's a bit more complex. There's a simple system to explaining how knife dueling works, even though there's more. Bayonets is just a one attack, but there's so many different cases with a bayonet even then, and scenarios, it's impossible to cover. But yeah, I'm not gonna waste your time anymore. This is just a simple, quick overview for anyone in a rifle regiment if you're using a knife, any officers if you're using a saber, and any curious musket regiment, non-saber or knife users who just want to know how it works. And I also gave you some tips and tricks for how to duel and counter. Hopefully this was a little bit useful, a little bit instructive. I'm gonna upload this video now, and I thank you all for watching, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.